dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone and Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln with more exciting news for area car buyers.
Charlie, it's just announced that Honda of Lincoln has won 3 of the Lincoln Journal-Star's Lincoln Choice Awards: Best New Car Dealer, Best Auto Repair, and Best Place to Get Your Oil Changed.
Wow, that's great, Andy. Anything else?
Yes, we were runner-up for Best Pre-Owned Dealer and Best Tire Dealer. A lot of people don't understand that we do sell tires here.
Very exciting, Andy. Why do you think your dealership is winning so many awards?
Charlie, we simply say it's the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business.
Looks like Honda of Lincoln is the great news headquarters for Lincoln.
Yes, and even all of Nebraska, we are also announcing that Honda of Lincoln's the only dealer in the state of Nebraska to win the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2024.
Honda of Lincoln, Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Play ball! Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arens on the ones and twos as always. I'll carry this hour solo, and if you guys want to join in, Starter Heyman text line open to you as always, 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, channel 961, and of course, with it being All-Star Week, no Royals, at least not until Friday. Then we'll have the Royals. They'll be back live right here on our Brick and Mortar. But until then, we got some more local content for you guys. Then, of course, after me, we'll continue with the best of the ticket. And today, we got the Captain Show coming up later. So with all that in line, a few things I want to start off with, mainly locally first. First one, Ndamukong Suh's retirement. There's already a murmur as to a possibility of maybe coaching in the Husker department. With that defensive line, you can only imagine the wonders of what a guy like that could do for you. But nothing appears to be solid. But that is out there in the mix, which is interesting. And I do think you get a guy like that in the room, that's only going to help your team out. So keep an eye out for it, although there is nothing out there that's concrete that definitely says, oh, he's going to be coaching at Nebraska. But reading the tea leaves, at least maybe there's some interest, or at the very least, or a conversation, and at the very least, some interest in there. And I think that'd just be a home run. If you bring Ndamukong Suh anywhere near back to Lincoln, Nebraska, I tell you what, the city just does better. What he's done for his career at Nebraska, what he did in the NFL, and then what he's did, even while he's in the NFL, he's starting his own finance podcast. Sounds like a good guy that you would want around student athletes, especially in the era of NIL. I mean, you got a former NFL player who's got millions of dollars on his name. And what's his interest? Finances. And how do you protect your finances? How do you invest the right way? That's a home run. So if that interest is real, I think everyone would celebrate. You get that guy back through the doors representing the University of Nebraska again. Very good speaker. Again, you can go listen to podcasts that he does now, and also just very smart. I think he would, for being as good as he was, he's going to have the respect of the player and also the wisdom of how do you handle your life outside of the football field. And in the era of NIL, I worry about that part getting missed. So I think that'd just be a home run. Like I said, nothing concrete, but maybe some murmurs here and there. If that interest is real, I think we'd all celebrate if Ndamukong Suh, after an amazing NFL career, can wind up back in Lincoln. Next thing I want to go to locally here. We won't spend a ton of time on it. We got some contract extensions. Troy Dannon got all those sorted out. And you can take a wild swing as to which ones are getting the extension, the really successful ones. So obviously, volleyball, I mean, she just got her contract. But the four that are joining the group now, you got the softball head coach, Rhonda Ravel, head track and field coach, Justin St. Clair, and then no surprise, women's bowling, Coach Klempa. You're going to continue to sign that guy. I mean, did they win it last year? No, but they got to the quarterfinals, still an achievement. And it's like every single year, those guys are in the running, or at least one of the favorites to win the entire thing. No one's surprised by the Coach Klempa extension. I think he's going to coach here as long as he wants, or until something crazy happens and he just completely forgets how to coach, which don't see that happening anytime soon. And then as well as the men's gymnastic coach. So right there, there's your four. Makes sense. No problems there. Those guys are winning at a high level. You go ahead and give out those contract extensions. So with that being said, that's kind of all I got on the local front. We can talk a little bit more Husker football later if we got time. We'll talk about the top quarterbacks that we will have to face in the regular season. Since we spent quite a bit of time talking college football, I'm going to wrap up where I left off yesterday, which is those NFL quarterback division rankings. So again, when I'm going through this is not me ranking individual teams. This is me ranking the division as a whole. And you guys could chime in. Give me what you think the best division is as far as quarterbacks goes in the NFL. And if you want to, you can give me the worst one as well. To recap from yesterday, before we had to sign off, I only got through the best. What I think is going to be the best division, and you guys can debate with me on this one. We can go back and forth, but it's kind of hard to beat the AFC West. You're sitting in there, whatever you think of Bo Nix, incredible year one. You make it to the playoffs, really leading the team at times. It's not like the defense was carrying him. He had to make some game-winning drives, and he delivered more often than not. You have a ton of confidence in him in year two. And then, of course, you got the currently what most people say is the best quarterback in the league. You can argue Josh Allen. You can argue Lamar Jackson. But if you're talking about winning and rings, Patrick Mahomes. So you're right there. You're feeling pretty good about Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes. And then the Raiders no longer are the Raiders of the past. You got Geno Smith in there, and Pete Carroll as well. That Raiders team could be really interesting. I think that is a frisky Raiders team that I would not want to take lightly this year, especially in that division. Geno Smith proved it at Seattle. He can be that guy, especially with some of the weapons he had over there. For the Raiders, the biggest thing for them is like that offense just has to get some life. Every single time those guys were in close games last year, it was a big part of their defense, similar to what the Steelers have to do in the past. If they can just ignite that offense, which I think Pete Carroll's a great hire for that. He's an older guy, sure, but he's one of those older guys that he's 100% there. The dude just loves football. I don't think he was ever quite ready to be done with it over there at Seattle. So I'm glad to see him have another chance. And then Geno Smith, you can continue to work with Pete Carroll. I like it. I like it a lot for them. So that's a huge upgrade with the Raiders. And then the Chargers, Justin Herbert. Now, whatever you may think of the Chargers, they're very up and down. Jim Harbaugh over there, I think you're going to see more consistency. And I really do think Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. He's been in some tough situations, and that's a little bit of a cop-out. But when you're sitting there with Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes, and then Geno Smith, one absolutely certified as a phenomenal quarterback in the league. Bo Nix, a up-and-comer by all indications of last year. And then Geno Smith, maybe not the cream of the crop, but certainly a high-caliber starting quarterback that can win you some big-time games. And then the worst, if you want to really rank them, Geno Smith, Justin Herbert being the guy to hold that down, you feel pretty good about both of them. I would say the separation between Geno Smith and Justin Herbert is pretty minimal at best right now. I mean, you can argue about potential with Justin Herbert. We can have that conversation, but as it sits right now, there's not a big difference between those guys in terms of their productivity. So that's a top division. There's not an easy game in terms of the quarterback that you're going to find within that division. So it's an absolute nightmare for anybody that I think is going to be in that AFC West. And now real quick to get to the worst of the worst, then we'll talk about some of these teams in the middle. Just to recap again what I said yesterday. You guys can argue about this one as well. AFC South. You're going to have a hard time finding some other ones. There might be one other division in there, but the AFC South is really being held up by CJ Stroud. You got Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, take your pick. Who's going to be that Colts quarterback starting the year? And then over with Jacksonville Jaguars, maybe at one point in time, tons of optimism before the urban experiment. Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars, and then Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward. That is not a division unless you see some talent like Trevor Lawrence or Cam Ward actually take that next step. I'm a little bit down on Anthony Richardson if I were a betting man to say that he's going to really take a leap this season. Just he has those moments, but he's streaky, similar to the way that Jordan Love can be, except the streaks are even shorter. There just hasn't been a lot of faith that Anthony Richards can be that guy. And that's why you have Daniel Jones in there as well, who might take over. So interesting situation for the Colts, but I think that's a pretty fair worst division right now. And you can argue some other ones. NFC South, if you want to go in that direction, you got Tyler Show, New Orleans Saints, the rookie, Bryce Young, who showed some improvement, and then Michael Penix Jr., but you got Baker Mayfield kind of holding that group together. And that's where I leaned with that division. I mean, Tyler Show, we just have to wait and see with him. I'm optimistic on Michael Penix Jr. now that he's going to have that gig. Kirk Cousins has made his statements about it. And then Bryce Young, although he hasn't had the best history out there, I think Bryce Young proved it once he got benched. He came back. He started playing much better football. And if you take that portion of the season, you're a little more optimistic on what he can do. So realistically, if you want to swap the NFC South for the AFC South, the Souths are bad when it comes to the quarterback play. I'm not going to be too much against it, but in my mind, I got to put the AFC South as the worst. CJ Stroud, like I said, he's carrying the most weight in that division. With that being said, that's your best and worst, best being that AFC West. Some of the honorable mentions for maybe that other best division. NFC East, I mean, you got the previous champion in Jalen Hurts. Washington Commanders, Jane Daniels, similar to Bo Nix. Year one, you were already like, okay, this guy's got to be put on notice. Unfortunately for me, I put him on notice when he was playing my Chicago Bears, the infamous Hail Mary game. This is a guy that you have to watch out for. We just heard from Peter Colbelt, and this applies to every single sport. Toughness is a beautiful thing in sports because it's not over until the clock hits zero or, in tennis's case, until you get that last point. Whatever you say about Jane Daniels, he's got a little bit of that mindset. I mean, that Hail Mary was an absolute gut wrencher. but he put him in position there at the end, despite everything going like the Bears' way, just to get enough, just to get the upfield enough to extend that pocket just for enough time to give them a sliver of hope. And that sliver of hope, I think, changed their outlook of the season. I mean, that was a gritty win, and things weren't actually rainbows and sunshines after that. They kind of fell down, but they had that win in the back of their minds, and then they picked themselves back up, and then they kind of went on their tear there. So Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders, like I said, you got the returning champion and Jalen Hurts, and then where it gets a little bit weaker, Russell Wilson with the Giants, and then Dak Prescott, obviously with the Cowboys. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott's a sad tune, because I actually think Dak Prescott is probably one of the most undeserved hated player. And a lot of it, you put that Cowboys logo on, you're gonna get some enemies that don't know anything about you. But what he does off of the field, he's honestly like one of the nicest charitable guys when it comes to the NFL. I shouldn't say the most, but he's up there. But he just has these horrible snafus postseason. We're not even talking regular season. You just running the stuff postseason with him. Sometimes it's coaching. Sometimes it's just on him purely, not understanding the situation or panicking right out in the situation. But if we're talking regular season, especially now you got some more weapons there. Last year, really just leaning on CeeDee Lamb. You helped yourself out. You got yourself another number 2 option. He's going to have some better targets. I think he's a good quarterback. I think last year was the anomaly of anomalies where nothing was clicking. You had the little bit of drama with the contracts, and they're trying to figure that out with Jared Jones, CeeDee Lamb's, like I said, getting upset, or at least appears on the outside. The chemistry isn't good. And if chemistry isn't good, that usually doesn't play well for the quarterback's performance. But I think if those guys can kind of get back to what they were when they were the number 1 offense, and then unfortunately completely got blown out by the Green Bay Packers at home, if they can get back to that, you just hope that Dak Prescott can not have that postseason snafu that he's constantly fell into. So that being said, that's my defense on Dak Prescott. I think he's not nearly as bad as people give him credit for. I think he's actually a solid quarterback in the league that just gets the bad headlines because he plays for the Cowboys. And then, of course, I said Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson with the New York Giants, he's kind of in that era with Aaron Rodgers for me. And it's not just because they both just last stop was the Steelers. I got to see it. I can't just live off of your guys' past tape. You have to put something out there, at least last year or this year, that's going to make me give you some belief. Good game manager. Russell Wilson knows what he's doing out there. You're not going to have problems with him having stupid penalties, unforced errors, but you don't know how far away you are from the peak with him. That being said, he's still a good quarterback, still starting quarterback in the league. So that's why you can argue in my case that might be the number 1 division, NFC East, when we're talking just purely quarterbacks. Because Russell Wilson, like I said, maybe not the greatest anymore, but he's still a solid quarterback, much like Aaron Rodgers. Not just because he used to be a Green Bay Packer. We just haven't seen it. Ever since that injury, it's really kind of just been waiting to see. And then when he came back with the Jets, wasn't happening. Okay, let's get Devontae Adams. I mean, they became the New York Packers. They really did. I'm blanking on all the guys they brought over that used to be former Packers that played with Aaron Rodgers. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, what more could you ask for? I mean, you changed the Jets to like a new form Packers with a lot of the guys you used to play for and play with in the past, and you still couldn't make it work. So it's your guys, at least in my mind. I don't know why else you'd get that many former Packer players or bring them over from the Packers, or former Packer Devontae Adams from the Raiders. You do all that and you still aren't getting the results you want. And then you kind of look at the film and it's like, well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like he's playing like he used to either. And coming off the injury, you don't want to be too harsh on it, but he's in that prove it era for me. We can talk about the past and how great he was in the past, but if we want to talk about the recent, you're not necessarily afraid of him like a lot of these other quarterbacks today. Another honorable mention, if you just want to go for solid, maybe not the best of the best, maybe not the worst, but just consistently solid. You're not going to have an easy game in terms of facing a quarterback. NFC West, Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, pocket Hercules, who really fast start, cooled off, weird contract negotiations where they try to get him cooled on the gaming, but nonetheless, he's picked it up after there. And he's after the Cliff Kingsbury leaving, I think you saw it drop a little bit, and now they're starting to get their feet back underneath them. Don't have a ton of hype in the Arizona Cardinals, but Kyler Murray, solid quarterback. Same thing for the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford, best of the best. Maybe not solid, though. You're going to consistently put him, top 10, just outside the top 10 when you're going through these quarterbacks. San Francisco 49ers, whatever you think about him, Brock Purdy, another known, well-slotted, certified starting quarterback. 49ers, it's going to be an interesting year for him to see. He's one of those guys that, for being as late as he was in the draft, didn't get any respect for it. It's an interesting thing when you get to those guys late in the draft, or Mr. Irrelevant even, that those guys are kind of just your folk heroes right off the bat because everyone's rooting for him. Brock Purdy never got that because he got slotted into that starting role, and then he just started winning. He won every single game until he got to the, what is it? It had the quarterfinals, semifinals for that Super Bowl run where they just fell short to making it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he just started off with a train of hate. And then, of course, you add in, well, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got George Kittle, you got Deebo Samuel, you got, goes on and on and on. You got, some of the best linebacker cores out there, and Greenlaw being infamous among them. It feels like everything's in your favor to go win games, but you don't want to just discredit them because, well, now they're winning. So Brock Purdy, he's just handing the ball off. Like, people forget with Brock Purdy as well. It's not like he didn't have game-winning drives. It's not like Brock Purdy just handed the ball off to Christian McCaffrey to win some of those games. No, he had to have some big moments where he had to not turn the ball over. He had to manage the clock, manage the timeouts as a really young player. And when you're on a team that's good, the pressure's higher. There is no, it's okay if we don't win this one. It's like, no, I know you're a young rookie, first year, second year, but this team's actually set up to win right now. So wherever you're at in your career, you need to be Super Bowl caliber quarterback. That was the pressure he was put under, and he actually delivered. Now, it's been a little shaky last year, but I still have hope that Brock Purdy, that was more of an anomaly year, because it's hard pressed for me to see a guy that good under that kind of pressure, despite, the media not loving him right off the bat, just continue to deliver in that playoff run. And I think it's people caught on to his tape a little bit. They're playing him differently, certainly after that second season, or after that first season. All the tapes out. You've seen him in the regular season, postseason. What are his weaknesses? I think that played a bit a part as to his downfall. But you watch enough of him, he's still got it. And, I'm not saying he's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen. But if he's on that 49ers team, I think he's a solid quarterback. And even if he's not on that 49ers team, I think he can figure out in just about every city outside of a few. Carolina Panthers, good luck. Unfortunately, my Chicago Bears, we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Historically, though, it hasn't been a place to prove it, but maybe that changes. Of course, you can throw in a few other honorable mentions, but just hasn't been great there. And then, of course, Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks. So, again, this list isn't daunting. It's just solid. Between Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, those are all guys that you're not going to go out there and say these are the best quarterbacks, but this is a group of guys that you're not going to get an easy game. You're not going to get what the Bears really got lucky from last year playing Will Levis on the Titans. Will Levis just fell apart at the end of that game because inexperienced, didn't have the confidence there yet, and allowed the Bears to win on some really sloppy mistakes in a game they had no business winning through some special teams miracles and really tough turnover plays by Will Levis for the Titans. So that's why when you look at this division, it's like maybe we're not terrified of anybody, but you're not going to run into those situations where the quarterback, or at least rarely will he run situations where the quarterback just hands over the game or has a crucial penalty or, pulls the Dak Prescott. I hate to use him as I just defended him not too long ago at a crucial moment and fumbles the snap or doesn't get the snap off at all. All that stuff happened pretty consistently for some of these other guys. But when you're looking at this, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, again, just solid all the way through. So 3, 2, 1, I think one's pretty clear for me. If you want to argue the NFC East with Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Hurts, Jaden Daniels being there, I'm okay with it. But certainly, I think the NFC West fits pretty well at 3. Not elite, just solid. You're not gonna get an easy quarterback with any of those teams. Just to fill out the rest, AFC East really weak. It's Josh Allen, and then who else? Maybe Tua Tagovailoa. He's just an interesting guy. You worry about his health. He doesn't want to wear the I'm blanking on the helmet, the cushion helmet, the marshmallow helmet padding, which to me is insane. I'd imagine defenders get nervous about even putting a hard hit on him. If you're Tua, you just got to put that thing on. Like, I don't care what you're thinking. And no amount of looking cool is worth potentially hurting your brain more. We had the privilege of hearing Anthony Lionheart Smith. That's the guy that fought 58 fights. It's a miracle that, he's fully there. I mean, he's an incredibly smart guy if you ever get to hear him, but there is some serious risk when you do that over and over and over again, when you're putting yourself out on line. And UFC is the easy example. That's why I think Anthony Lionheart Smith is a really unique example of guys that get out just in time. Now, who knows? Maybe you could have 10 more fights, maybe get 20 more fights, but 58 is a lot. Get out just in time, preserve that. You remember, obviously, greats of the past like Muhammad Ali. Like, it's just kind of sad to see that stuff. With Tua, no one wants to see that. And if you want to play the sport, that's totally fine. Please just put the helmet on. I think even the biggest rivals of the Dolphins don't want to see anything like that happen. I'm amazed they don't force him, but maybe it's one of those things you can't force. So with Tua, just the state he's in, I don't have a ton of faith in him. It's just a tough guy to put faith in right now, not because he was bad, but the injuries. And then New York Jets, Justin Fields. I think a lot of people are rooting for Justin Fields to get a good start and to have a organization trust him fully. The Chicago Bears didn't do it. The Steelers didn't do it. Hopefully the Jets do. What the Bears did to Justin Fields was just unfortunate. They trusted him to start the games. They didn't trust him enough to give him the tools he needed to win games. And that's a brutal position to be in. Ultimate way to kill a guy's confidence is put him out there in the starting role, but don't really do enough to actually help him win. Between the head coaches, Bears typical, you draft a first-round quarterback, you fire the coach the next year. I mean, what do you know? That happened with Justin Fields. And we had a new coach. Now we got Caleb Williams in here. Hopefully history doesn't repeat itself. But then even Justin Fields on the Steelers, Justin Fields goes to the Steelers. I believe he's 4-2 record for a place that was flirting around 500, who's at risk of going under 500, ruining that long record of Mike Tomlin of just always being 500 or better. He was doing it. I mean, 4-2, considering where that team's been in the past, was a pretty nice start for that group. And then Russell Wilson gets plugged in anyways. You could argue it was a bit better with Russell Wilson. I didn't think it was that much better. I actually thought the Steelers would be better off trusting Justin Fields just to see it out, because Russell Wilson isn't even playing for the Steelers anymore. It's not like Wilson was an investment, at least in my mind. I think you knew maybe you get a few good years out of him, and then is he really worth paying a bunch of money? No, I don't think they were ever there. So it never made sense to me. Justin Fields, we have an investment on him. If he proves it, he's 4-2 right now. He's got a winning record, better to start that he's had really anywhere. Let's see if he can keep this thing going. And they didn't let him. He got benched. And now he's on the New York Jets. Now the Jets don't have a lot of options. So hopefully this is the team that Justin Fields can finally get his run. And prove it or not, I'm not saying he's going to be that guy who can hold down the starting spot, who can be one of the elite quarterbacks across the NFL, but I just want to see him get the opportunity that he really has been robbed of. Yes, I understand he started a lot of games for the Bears. I just don't think they helped him out with the weapons. Offensive line was consistently abysmal. Coaching staffs were changes. Steelers, things were consistent. He was even winning, but he got benched anyways. And again, with the Jets, hopefully he finally gets that opportunity. And then, of course, New England Patriots, Drake May. We just got to see more from Drake May. That Patriots team, ever since the Bill Belichick leaving, a little bit of flux. So I think that one right there, number 4, Josh Allen's just holding that thing up, really, as that elite quarterback. With that being said, a little bit over on the clock here. We'll finish up shortly with this list. We won't go into much detail about everybody else so we can change gears, but don't go anywhere. Harrison Arns going solo on Ticket Weeknights. You guys can join in. Starting Haven text line, but we'll go to break. Talk to you guys in just a little bit.
This July, Acres is celebrating the birth of our nation. The fireworks include the opportunity to save big with great pricing on our late model John Deere ag equipment. Plus, you can lock in interest rates as low as 1.9% on select used John Deere planters, tractors, sprayers, and combines. Red hot rates combined with our explosive discounts make July the perfect time to buy and save. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer July 31st, 2025. Approved financing. Offer may change anytime without notice.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hi, folks. The weather is for sure heating up, and Coppell Chevrolet GMC is following suit. The discounts are really as good as they've ever been. $14,500 off list price, or 0% financing on select new models. Folks, you heard that right. Smoking hot deals at Koppel. $14,500 off list price or 0% APR. So take that short drive down 144th Street or at koppelcars.com. STK number G269520. All deals with trade-in and approved credit.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Don't miss the 8th Annual Wing Fest on Saturday, July 26th at Haymarket Park from 5 till 8 p.m. Local restaurants will be serving wings from 5 to 7 p.m. with live music going until 8. Ice cream and beverages will also be available for purchase, and all the proceeds from the event will go to benefit students in the local community. Get your tickets today at wingfestlincoln.com and make sure you attend the 8th Annual Wingfest at Haymarket Park on July 26th. A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, come take a weeknight. You guys can join in. Sorry, him and text line 402-464-5685 or any of the streams. Going to wrap up, finishing with the NFL QB divisions rankings. So we went through the top, we went through the bottom, and then we got 1 through 4. We left off at number 5. And like I said, we're not going to spend nearly as much time. But at number 5, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, whichever one takes a start, Aaron Rodgers, AFC North. Again, it's just two heavyweights feeling like you're holding that entire thing with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. You got last year's MVP, and then you got Joe Burrow, who, if that defense was just any better, I mean, that's a playoff team. And then, like I said, the Cleveland Browns, it's just, you don't know anything. Obviously, Shador is there. They took multiple QBs. They took 2 QBs back-to-back within that draft. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Shador. And I mean, you can go a bunch of different ways. Either way, the confidence level, I don't think is very high until you see some more action. And then Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. I'm just not optimistic on this one working out. I really would have rather kept Justin Fields, not because I'm certain he's going to be better, but at least it's a cheaper investment than bringing Aaron Rodgers in there. I just don't know what you're necessarily going to get. We haven't really seen greatness since the injury. So that's why, even though you got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, they fall a bit down at 5. Number 6, NFC North. Again, just pretty solid. Caleb Williams wasn't necessarily elite last year, but pretty good numbers. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, and then the Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is interesting because you just want to see if that continues at all from what preseason was. The fact that they let Sam Darnold go says they got a lot of hype in this guy. That J.J. McCarthy, they really think he's going to live up to it. Because if you're going to move on from a guy who, realistically, I mean, some of his numbers are better than Kirk Cousins' best years. You move on from that. That means you feel awfully good about the other guy. And just what I saw in preseason, and take it with a grain of salt, right? My guy, Caleb Williams, was an absolute savant in preseason. Didn't exactly look that way all the time in the regular season. J.J. McCarthy was the same thing in the preseason. Just phenomenal, incredibly accurate. And again, when you look at him in Michigan, if you want to use that tape, he wasn't asked to do a lot, which is fine. You know, I don't think saying your game manager is a bad thing. Your offensive line's that good. If your running back's that good, you can set up the pass game and make your life really easy if you just bully people on the line of scrimmage, and they did. And then it led to some easy throws for McCarthy, and they didn't have to be super aggressive all the time with his arm. So you didn't see all that tape, but just because you don't see the tape doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I'm optimistic on him. But again, you got a group of guys that Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, can you be consistent? And then J.J. McCarthy, how good are you? You know, if they have that much faith. And then Jared Goff, just solid. I mean, he's the guy holding that one up based on his consistency. Even like last year, despite getting older in age, just consistently solid. Number 7, NFC South, Michael Penix Jr. for the Falcons, Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, Tyler Show, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. We talked about those guys already. Quickly scrubbing through here. And then, of course, AFC South, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, whoever takes that start for the Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward. So that's where you're at with the divisions. You guys can always disagree on which ones you think the best of the best are, but I think by far AFC South, you can go AFC North as well. Those ones pretty brutal. And then I think above and away, best division, got to go AFC West. You got Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, Justin Herbert, all solid quarterbacks. A little bit more on the NFL outside of the quarterbacks. Cincinnati Bengals continue from the outside, appear to be cheap. They got their guy, Shamar Stewart. They still can't come to an agreement with his contract. And it's leading to a bunch of interesting stories. I should defeud the first one right away. There's a lot of rumors that Shamar Stewart he's gonna go back to college. That because he hasn't actually signed his NFL contract yet, he has the ability to go back to college. Well, I think legally, no. You can't do that. But the way that these rulings have kind of failed under the pressure of the courts lately, maybe it's somewhat of a possibility. But the way I understand it right now, I don't think he plans to. He is working out at his alma mater. But the reports were saying like he is working out in practice with the guy. He has not participated in practices. He's worked out individually within the facilities. Even if he doesn't go back there, the real story is if you're the Browns, or excuse me, not the Browns, if you're the Bengals, what are you doing? You got to figure this out with your guy. And the Bengals have notoriously, again, from the outside, from what I hear on the outside, have been a cheap team. You can look at the payroll of years past. You can look at, what they're doing with Joe Burrow, despite having an absolute game changer at the quarterback position. They're seeming to really fail in some of these big acquisitions, particularly on the offensive line that they need to make. And now they got an elite edge rusher that you're still haven't figured out the contract with. You don't want to be in a situation where, I mean, he can demand a trade. If he hasn't signed that contract yet, he would have to do it 30 days before the regular season starts. But at the end of the day, he has that option out there. He could pull it off if he really wanted to. It just goes to the Bengals organization as a whole, where it feels like they really struggle on these contract deals. And I hope the reason is they're just being cheap. Because his biggest thing in there is he wants some of those guarantees. The way it's kind of scripted right now is there's a lot of voids where, okay, if you're unavailable for this game for X, Y, and Z, your paycheck's void. And if you look at some of the years prior, it wasn't like that for all the players in the past. They didn't have all these triggers in here that would void their paycheck. And that's what he's upset about. And if you're looking at just last year's picks from the Bengals and you're looking at their contracts that their agents drew up with the Bengals organization, and you like the idea of that, you're sitting there a little bit confused, like, why can't I get that same deal? You just did it last year. So I think that's where a lot of the distrust and anger is coming from is, you go to your organization, you kind of looking at the guys last year, how it went with them. You walk in thinking it's going to be the same, and it's not. You still can't come to an agreement because you got those triggers in there that will void the paycheck. And like I said, it's not just one. I mean, you got X, Y, and Z. I think the best way to do it, if you're the Bengals, sit them down. And if you want to absolutely keep those void of contract situations in there, you got to make it so it's at least a few before it actually triggers. That's the only way. Because what a waste if you're just going to let him go away and demand trade. I mean, if you want to go down that route, you can. But again, it kind of just circles back to the Bengals really struggling to keep their players' best interest in mind, or at least not articulating that they do have the best players' interest in mind, because you lead to situations like this where a rookie should just be excited to go play in the league, and he can't sign a deal with you because he just agrees with you vehemently that much, and he feels it's unfair looking at contracts of not the past, we're talking like just last year. So that's where you get to Shamar Stewart. Do I think he's going to go back and play college football? No. I think you got to fight some court cases with that. I think it's unlikely that you would get through all the way. And for him, when you make it to the league, it seems, it would be alien to go backwards. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but like I said, I think there's a lot of red tape you would have to cut through to make that all work. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't pass the bar exam. Unfortunately, a lot of the summer has been talking about the courts with NIL, with conference realignment, and getting appealed. And now with Shamar Stewart as well. Obviously, if you want to go back to college, I don't think it's just a clear rainbow road to going back to your alma mater. On top of, even though I understand you didn't sign the contract, there are some rules that makes that seem like despite you not signing the contract, getting drafted is maybe the thing that ends all of that. So like I said, that's more where you have to get into the court cases and you have to understand the legal work behind it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a serious possibility. I think the Bengals will figure it out, but it's just a bad look for the Bengals when things like this drag out, especially when, again, and maybe not all true, maybe none of it true, but probably partly true, that your reputation is you're somewhat of a cheaper organization. And that's not just me saying that from Nebraska. You can listen to former NFL players kind of talk about that in their podcast. So if that's the light you're in, and then you have situations like this circling around the media right before the NFL season, like, it's just not a great look. And again, when you got Joe Burrow, you don't want to drop this one. If you drop Joe Burrow and you never make it to another Super Bowl, like that fan base is going to be vehemently upset, and rightfully so. So there's the Shamar Stewart story. You heard about him going back to college. I think it's a little bit of misleading reporting. I think there's a slim possibility that he could, but the real possibility of that happening is a longer road than what the headlines may have made you believe. So that's the Bengals situation. We'll wrap it up there. On the final side, we will finally blend in some NBA talk. Talked a lot of football yesterday and today. We'll wrap up in the NBA. Don't go anywhere. Harrison Arns is going solo. One more segment, and of course, the best of the ticket after me. Talk to you in just a little bit.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
When you're outdoors beneath Nebraska skies, adventure comes in all sizes. From quick escapes and long weekends to true off-the-grid retreats. Paddle, hike, camp, explore. Whether you have a few hours or a few days, we'll guide you to a state park or recreation area that's a perfect fit. Start your next adventure today at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
When only the best will do. Talk
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at StarterHeyman.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years. And I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
We strive to help people get into home ownership. That is the American dream. Having something that you can go home at night and say, this is mine, is very important. The great thing about Remington Homes is affordability.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about their exciting new division, Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
The exciting thing about a Remington home is you get to choose your floor plan from predetermined floor plans. We give you a lot of choices, and you couple that with our great lot selection in all different areas. People do not want to be married to their house payment. They want to get a nice house with nice finishes in a great area for an affordable price. And that's what Remington Homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arens wrapping up segment 3 here solo before we get to the best of the ticket, which today is the Captain Show, Bach and the Black Shirts. Before we get there, though, we got to continue to talk about what is the tragic story of the Phoenix Suns and how badly they handled the quote-unquote super team. I would say hindsight would be 2020, but I was pretty open about this, that I never thought this team build made a whole lot of sense. And apologies for sounding like a broken record, but when you build teams together, defense matters, style of play matters, but especially that defensive part. And I'm going to sound like a broken record on it because you go look at the playoffs in the NBA, who were the teams that typically make it through? Who's the number one defense last year? Thunder. Who won? Thunder. If you go years past, who are the best defenses? They probably made it to the quarterfinals or semifinals in the NBA, and a lot of times won it. At least a top 3, top 5. I'm not saying a number 1 all the time. Last year just worked out perfectly to prove my point even more. Defense matters a ton, especially when you get to the NBA. So I'm going to sound like a broken record because it'd be foolish to change my opinion on the importance of defense unless I get some new evidence or results, but the results are defense matters. So how does that apply to the Phoenix Suns? Put 2 and 2 together. You put Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant on the same team together, and you thought all that offense and maybe not worrying about a ton of defense was going to be the recipe for success. Now, if those are your 3 guys, okay, maybe you split them up minutes-wise. Who are your real elite defenders? You didn't have a ton of role players that were filling that role either. You didn't have a Lou Dort, a Alex Caruso, or Alonzo Ball when he was healthy. You can go on and on. You can name a bunch of defensive guys, a Rudy Gobert around the rim. You didn't have that. So you just had all offense. And all this plagues into a big failure. And why that one hurts, 3-time NBA All-Star Bradley Beal has agreed to contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns and plans to join the Los Angeles Clippers on a 2-year, $11 million deal with player option after clearing waivers. So now you lost Bradley Beal. So there, right there, you go from Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and you can't say you got a bunch back for it. You took a big swing. It didn't work out. That is the reality of the Phoenix Suns. And now you're in a unique spot with Devin Booker where I wonder how he feels about that entire organization's loyalty to him. It's like you brought him stars to play along with, but in my mind, you didn't really bring him guys that would fit his game the best. I think of Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers all the time. Dame, what he did for the city of Portland is incredible. Incredibly loyal, stayed there for a long time. It's a pity to see him get waived from the Milwaukee Bucks, at this point of his career. But over at the Portland Trailblazers, was always a phenomenal player, but they consistently felt like weren't matching him up with the right guys or weren't all in on the right guys. The Phoenix Suns were all in my mind, for the wrong style. And I'd be surprised if maybe that's what Devin Booker wanted, to play with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and he thought that would work. But you as the owner or GM should kind of figure out what are my players, what is my star players' weaknesses? And a guy like Devin Booker, who has already kind of captured the city as like he's their guy, well before the 71-point performance that really, really put him on the map. How can we best serve him? And even if he disagrees, make him understand that we are building this team around you because we think you're our best shot. Feels like they never really did that. They just kind of brought in more and more offense, hoping that would be the cure. And I think Kevin Durant's a phenomenal player. His blend over at Houston, though, just makes much more sense. That's a role where he can fit. The team's good. He just has to step in there, be a leader, hit big-time shots like he always does. He hasn't shot under 50% field goal percentage since 2012 season. He's always going to be a consistent shooter. But what the problem was with the Suns, it's, okay, how many shots does Kevin Durant get? How many shots does Bradley Beal get? How many shots does Devin Booker get? If you don't want to play them all together, who's splitting what? Who's coming off the bench? Who's going to have to sacrifice the most in usage rate? And that never really felt like it was a smooth and sorted out process. And that's how you kind of ended up with the situation where you are now, where at one point in time, the Phoenix Suns' future felt pretty obvious. That, again, I disagreed with it, but the idea was this is a super team. This is a team that can finally compete in the West, that can compete with the up-and-coming Thunder, that can compete with the defending champs. The Celtics, if they make it that far, all the way to the NBA Finals, or even particularly in the West, the Rockets, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, even the Warriors. The Warriors, whatever you will say about the Warriors, that team's always going to be dangerous until Steph Curry retires. And it just hasn't quite worked out that way. Maybe they're towards the twilight of it, but the West is just incredibly tough. And if you go into the West thinking we can outscore everybody, you're in for, in my mind, a nightmare. So now, like I said, you were at one point in time, even though I disagreed with it, where it felt like the Suns' future was clear, at least for the GM, ownership, players. Now you're at a point where all those great players, again, I really don't think it was the players' fault. I think it was just kind of like the chemistry of the team and how it was put together. Wasted. All of them out the door now. You still got Devin Booker, but who knows what the future leads for the Phoenix Suns and what is a loaded NBA Western Division. With that being said, appreciate you guys listening. As always, I'm Harrison Arens, wrapping up solo here, but don't go anywhere. Ticket Weeknights continues. Best of the Ticket up next. Bach in the black shirt had a great show today. More on that one next. Don't go anywhere.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread's Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports